First thing for you. Been here a while.
Hey, Doug,
Go ahead.
Do you recall any kind of epiphany or any moment, maybe after the Houston game, where you or Phil went to the offensive line and said, "You guys got to start playing better"? Is it that simple, or was it just that you said the other day they just started? It was a gradual process.
I think it's a gradual process, but I know myself as the coach standing in front of the room. I do tell the guys, hey, we have to coach better, and we have to play better, and we're all in this together. So, you make those sort of blanket statements to your team, but then at the same time, once you hit the practice field, we detail things as coaches better for the guys. Maybe we simplify some things, and then for them, it's just repetition, right? It's the same 5 guys playing together, all season and getting more continuity.
Does anything give you, I guess, more pleasure than having a couple of games where Trevor not only doesn't get sacked but doesn't get hit? Is that?
I mean, that's the goal each week, but I tell you, the protection's been really good the last couple of weeks, and our guys take a lot of pride, and we work at it. We work at it hard. Our coaches study our opponent and the type of blitzes and pressures that they're going to bring, and then we put our guys in it during the week. So it's just a credit to all the guys just working hard.
Foye and Dewey practice windows open. What are the chances of them playing this weekend?
Good. It's it just means that we've opened their window and they can practice now with the team, and not on the side with the trainer. So we'll see each day how they do, how they get back out there and do more football, movement, and then if it looks good, great. If not, we go another week and see next week.
Do you see a scenario in which Foye and Ventrell could be on the field together?
Yes.
Like definitively, like primarily.
Like moving forward?
Yes, moving forward. Could they be the primary linebackers moving forward?
I would say, short answer is yes. I think too, you want your best 11 on the field, whatever that looks like, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be the best football player, but the one that does things right the most. But I do still think that there's enough of a rotational piece with those guys. I think that's one of the positions that's gotten better. These last couple of weeks it has been the linebacker. I think Devin in the middle's gotten better. Ventrell, we know he's improved, and now with the addition of Foye coming back, if he's ready to go, I think you got your combinations back that you want.
You've won 2 of your last 3 games. Do you feel like this team's kind of turning a corner, and how do you kind of keep it rolling?
I do feel like the team is coming together a little bit better. And that's the thing that we have to keep coming, right? We got to keep building and build off of last week. What did we do? Focus in on what did we do well during the week? How did we attack the week as coaches and players, and how did we practice and things of that nature, and then ultimately how did we play? And I think if we find some pieces in there that we can hang our hats on, that's what you build on. And but yeah, 2 out of the last 3 has been very positive, and we got to find a way to do it again. Obviously against a good team.
Did you make any tweaks during the game prep during the week at all that you're seeing dividends out on the field now?
Not really. I didn't not big wholesale changes. We kept the practice structure the same last week. There's something to just everybody together in the same spot. But really, you just look. A lot of times you just got to roll up your sleeves and go to work, and take ownership where you can and move forward.
I know it's not the same circumstances, but a couple of years ago you did mention that you sort of had a little bit of an inkling when you were 2-6, then you were 3-7, that you could still get back in the race and maybe even pull it off and win the division. Any correlation with that now? I mean, 4-game deficit then with 7 games left versus a 3-game deficit now with 10 games left.
I would say this: anything's possible, but listen, it's a one week at a time mentality, as you know, and it's you just try to go 1-0. You just try to try to figure out how to win a game this week. But I think we can lean and look back on that time and say, hey, we've been here before. We know what this looks like, and what did we do well then that we can apply to today. And there's a lot of ball ahead of us, and yet I think each week now becomes a little bit more important, for us as a team.
Does it make you feel a little bit better, a little bit more, I don't know, not as worried because you have a lot of core players on this team who were part of that comeback 2 years ago as well?
Obviously that's a positive. Guys that have been there with us and gone through that, and listen, you're gonna have moments where you're gonna have in this league, you're gonna have a lot of highs, and you're gonna have some lows, and again, it's what you learn from each one and apply to this week and today, and how you use that, I think, moving forward, and lean on your leadership, lean on the guys that have kind of been there and done it, and use them as sort of, sending the message to the guys in the locker room.
I know they haven't been on the grass the last 2 days, but status for Cam and Travis as far as how they're trending on their
Cam's obviously in the protocol, so he won't be out there. TJ's doing fine. Again, day to day, he'll get some work out there. Not with the team per se, but maybe a little bit individual, and then work with the trainers after that.
As far as the run game goes, in the moment, and obviously a lot of this is on press, but I would think it's the collective. When you're calling 17 straight run plays, and now you look up against your next opponent, who's someone who the Texans were really able to run on last week, how difficult is it to stay disciplined and say, you know what, this is working, we have to just commit to the run?
I think one of the things you have to do, anybody that's making decisions, in game, last week was last week. It's a different set of circumstances this week, right? It's a different team, it's a different structure, different players, and a team that, look, do you want to go in and establish your run game early? Like we have? Yeah, sure. That's, I think, every team would say, and every coach would stand up here and say, oh, let's establish the run early. That's as much of a cliche, but that's the truth, right? And so, is our offensive line, are they playing well right now? I do believe they are. And I think that's been a strength of us, the last couple of weeks. And you lean on that, just like, our quarterback's been clean throwing the football too. So you lean on that as well. But I think it's not until you get into the football game that you kind of figure out that, okay, this is working or this is not working, and you switch gears, whatever it might be. And it just so happened this past week that the run game was successful, and you just keep kind of riding that hot hand.
I know I don't want you to have to give it away, but on the headset, I mean, what is, for as much as you can share, what's the conversation in like that situation where you're just like, all right, here we gotta keep doing it?
I don't know if it's much of a conversation as it is just what we're seeing. You're seeing 4 yards, 6 yards, 12 yards, 15 yards, a run. There's not a lot of conversation that needs to take place. You know what I'm saying? And you're feeling the excitement of the offense on the field. So, quite frankly, there is no dialogue in those moments. It's just kind of what you're seeing in game.
Packers lead the league in takeaways, but how are they coming? Like, what do they do well on defense to make that work on takeaway game?
Yeah, opportunistic team. I mean, right place, right time. They're getting some batted balls. They're getting some tips. They're getting some timely interceptions. I think early in the season, I think Xavier was all over the place. Ball was like finding him, and that's how turnovers sort of come, right? They come in droves like that, and this team has capitalized on that, and they've been able to score even, when Love wasn't in there. They were still finding a way. So, one of the things we got to do is obviously take care of the football. And we've been pretty good lately at that. But again, this is a good team, and you can't give good teams more opportunities. And then, we just gotta find a way to take care of the football.
You mentioned Jordan Love now. I mean, after the knee injury, what's been different about him to be so elevated in his play?
I think he's just, sometimes that injury kind of calms a quarterback down. So he's in the pocket, he's seeing the field, he's getting the ball out, a little more quick passing, the screen game, things like that, have helped him. And of course their run game, and getting the ball, in Jacob's hands and letting him go. And they do a great job with shifts, motions, and, sort of the misdirection stuff too that you got to be prepared for. And then obviously the play action pass comes off that. So you're just seeing, I think, a quarterback that's kind of settled in, quite frankly, since the injury. And he's doing a good job.
Brian and the rest of the receivers have played a lot of top cornerbacks this season. What is it about Alexander that really stands out and kind of sets him apart?
Obviously, corners of this nature, there's a lot of confidence in their ability, and rightfully so. He's a good corner, and they're guys that they love competition, and they love the chippiness of what the game brings, right? And the best ones I've been around are just that way, and they got a swagger about them, and he's got that. When you watch the film, I mean, he's doing his part, right? I mean, he's this is a zone scheme team, so eyes are on the quarterback, and you got to be smart as a quarterback. You can't stare down receivers, or otherwise he's that good. He's going to pick the ball off and possibly return it for a touchdown, which he's done. So just got to be smart as an offense. A lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for that defense and what they're doing right now. But he's really shaped himself into one of the best corners that we've seen in this league.
When you have a team that forces as many turnovers as the Packers do, is there a heightened emphasis on that during the week, or is it just, obviously you focus on it every week?
We focus on it every week. We spend Thursdays talking to our team offensively about it. But here's the stats. This is who they are, and this is how they're creating them. And if we show our guys how they're getting them, I think it paints a brighter picture, right? And then bottom line is we got to just take care of the football.
Offensively, how do you account for all their different weapons, especially knowing that tight ends have at times been the Achilles heel for this defense, and the fact that they have multiple tight ends in the receiving game?
Yeah, they've got quite a few guys on offense they can get the ball to, and it does make it a challenge, which group are you going to try to take away, or at least minimize. And this is something that you got to trust the scheme. This week you got to put your players in situations to, I think, understand the scheme, number one, and then try to be successful on game day where there's maybe not a lot of thinking involved. Just I've got that guy, type thing. And then your pass rush too. You got to affect, if you want ball disruption and takeaways, you've got to affect it with 4 or 5 guys, and you've got to be able to do that too.
Jordan Love's and Aaron Rodgers, guys sat for a while before they got on the field. How hard is it to remain committed to that as an organization? I'm sure it helps when Rodgers and then going to Love.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Packers have been blessed. I mean, they had like 30-plus years of 2 guys playing quarterback, I think. I mean, they've been blessed. So but as an organization too, you're always looking to the future. So they drafted Jordan Love, knowing Aaron Rodgers was the starter, and you're going to learn from this guy, however long it takes. They were in no hurry to make a switch, and And it's obviously paying off for him because he got to sit and watch one of the better, if not one of the best quarterbacks in modern time play the game. And, so, yeah, I mean, you might complain and say, well, why are we taking this guy so high and why are we doing all that? But now you look at him and go, pretty good reason why, and he's going to sit for, however long. So, you just got to be committed to it. If that's your plan, you got to stick to it. And then there's going to come a day when you have to make the switch and the move, and Jordan was ready for it.
If you're getting a quarterback of that caliber, most of the time you're picking high in the draft generally. So there's the pressure to play the kid. There's the pressure, and most of them don't have Rodgers already in place. You know what I mean? It's such a unique
Well, I think that was
situation.
of course we weren't there, so we don't know. But I think from an organizational standpoint, you got Aaron Rodgers, so we can take a little bit of a risk here, and take this guy, and knowing, probably knowing you're gonna have to answer a lot of questions why, instead of why aren't you taking a receiver, why aren't you taking a pass rusher, why, all the questions we hear every day, right? So it's everybody has their plan. They go into the draft off season with that plan. Packers had it, this is what we were going to do. They stuck to it, and it's paying off for them.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks for your time.